I bloody did it.
Hey, still there, Jack? Well done.
So tonight is a bloody big one. We're having a handicap 5k session at my run club. And I'm in the bracket time for 17 minutes. I've never done a handicap 5k before. The theory is everyone starts at different times with the aim at finishing at the same time. So the people that maybe their aim is 20 minutes for a 5k, they're going to start 3 minutes before me. I'm trying to break 17, so I'll go 3 minutes after them. The aim is for everyone to finish at the exact same time. I don't know, I just feel pretty good. My legs feel strong. The wind looks high. It's the only thing that's on my mind, is the wind does not look great. But I've done a silly thing. I've written the splits on my arm. I'm actually aiming for not just 16:59. I want a little bit more wiggle room. So I've aimed for 16 minutes and 49 seconds. That's the goal. So the times on my arm are going to lead to exactly 16 minutes and 49 seconds. What my aim is, my pacing, my strategy for today is I'm going to try and be like a metronome. I'm going to try and just hit those splits. All I'm going to concentrate on is hit the time, hit the time, hit the time for the first 10 laps. So a 5k is 12.5 laps of a track. For the first 10, metronome. And then that last kilometre, I'm just going to see what I've got left in the tank, if I have anything left in the tank, and then just go for it. I just have a feeling today could be a big day for me, so I'm not going to leave anything on the track. I'm really upset that I can't film or video or even take photos whilst there, because it's still a huge track. There are kids that train there, makes sense. But as far as content goes, it's not great for me. So I'm going to head into the run club, do quite a long extended warm-up, probably about 4 to 5 kilometers of just gentle moving on my feet, really slow pace. Then when the group gets together, ramp it up a few strides, some dynamic warming up, some dynamic warm-ups, and yeah, just go for it and see what I've got in me. The wind does not look good, but I don't know if it's going to matter today. I just feel strong. I just feel really, really strong. I'm going to say it's 70-30. That's the feeling. 70% I've got this, 30% maybe not. I like those chances. So I'll see you in a couple of hours, whether I've done this or whether I haven't. I bloody did it. Oh, that feels so good to say. 16 minutes and 57 seconds. That was one of the toughest things I've ever done. That was the most painful, just digging deep, real, just really dug in, got stuck in. I've never felt pain like that. Wow, tons of fun, but just suffered from start to finish, suffered. Throughout this week, throughout this video, I'm going to sort of do a debrief, talk about how the race went a little bit more. Right now, I just want to sort of capture those raw emotions, and it feels just incredible. It's kind of hard to believe that, you know, officially my 5k time is 16 minutes, 57 seconds. To think two and a half years ago, that was 25 minutes. And now I'm getting closer and closer to that near elite time. You know, I don't know where the ceiling is for me, you know. This year my goal was to go sub-18, and I smashed that in January. I thought there's a potential I could go sub-17 this year, and it was sort of like maybe I could do this, but I did it, you know, and I can do it. So what's next? What can I keep doing? You know, can I get faster? And I think I can. I know I can, you know. I had a really good feeling about tonight, and yeah, it all just paid off. Like I say, I've got to head home. I've got to eat some food. But yeah, I just thought I'd capture some raw emotions right now. I don't really know how to feel, or what to think. 16 minutes, 57 seconds. Eked it out. That was, it got close to the end. So today is Sunday. I'm a few days removed from my 5k PB, finally breaking sub-17. I thought now would be a really good time to reflect on the process, talk about how actually it was achieved, and then what's next. So to start really, it was an event that was going on at the run club, and the idea was in a handicap 5k, everybody would start at different times to ultimately finish at the same time. And I'm really lucky that I've got a couple of guys at the run club that run at around the same pace as me, which makes running pretty competitive, but it also keeps us accountable on days when we're not feeling good, and it also means that when events like this come up, you've got someone you can run with, and ultimately running together is a lot easier than running by yourself. So for me, I had two guys that we ran as a group of three, and we planned it pretty perfectly. I'd written on my arm lap splits of how we were going to achieve to ultimately run. I think the plan was to go 16:50, so we were behind that anyway. But the plan was one of the guys was going to do laps 1 to 5. I was pacing laps 5 to 10, and then the third guy was pacing laps 10 until the finish, which is 12.5 laps. Ultimately, the goal with the first 5 laps, it was not about going really strong to start. Actually, we were trying to do the opposite. We were trying to hold back as much as possible. It's so natural to fall apart at the end because you've gone too fast. Even doing a lap split 3-4 seconds above your target pace is enough to really mess you up in the long run. So we purposely held back, which I think really proved well at the end. In our first lap, we were actually probably about 3 seconds faster than target pace. And the first thing I sort of said to the group was, we need to slow down. We really need to, pump the brakes a little bit, which we did. For the rest of those 4 laps out of the first 5, we really sort of cruised, which was then time for that middle part of the run where eventually I took over and paced that front of the group. And really, the goal for that was just to not drop off. Kind of the time in your 5k where concentration lacks the most, because you're just about halfway, you've got quite a while to go, but you're not ready to go full sprint yet. So really, I took over and just tried to hold it and feel quite strong at the front. We also fell off the pace. So, as I said earlier, the plan was to run a 16:50, or the lap splits were for that. And as we were getting further and further in, I noticed we were probably about 7-8 seconds behind that pace once we got to around lap 7 or 8. So I knew that actually if we continued at this rate, we would start to fall behind the sub-17 goal, which is what happened. And luckily there was 3 of us, and the third guy took over at lap 10 and really put in a strong shift for those last couple of laps. We held strong, and then with 400 meters left, I checked my watch and I could tell we were probably about 5 seconds behind where we needed to be, and was not going to break sub-17, which is when something happened that's never happened to me before. I had a little conversation in my mind where I knew it was going to be a PB, and I thought, actually I'm comfortable with this. Sub-17 doesn't need to happen today. But instead something sort of changed, something I've not really done with myself before as far as mental resilience. I had a bit of a, what are you doing right now? Why are you giving up? I had to probably run about a 1:14 or 1:13 lap, which is possible. Difficult, but possible. I've done it in training loads of times. So why was I talking myself out of it? Ultimately because I'd done 11 laps before that and I felt terrible. So really I just had to snap out of it, and I did, thankfully. So I was talking to myself saying, come on man, you can do this. It's one more lap. How bad do you want to be sub-17? What's going to hurt more? Is it going to be the fact that you've suffered for a lap? Or is it going to be the fact that you missed that target time again and don't know when you're going to achieve it? So actually I realised I just needed to dig deep, and I did have it in me. And as I've said before on plenty of videos, is that I fall apart at the end. And this is probably the proudest run I've ever had, because I didn't. So that's another week of training done. I'm ultimately walking away from this week with a lot more confidence going into the ultramarathon and for my future in running. I did my long run today, 24 kilometers, but running it at 4:13 per kilometer pace, and it felt pretty easy actually. You know, last week I did a 4:29, I think, taking 17 seconds off. I think it was the third fastest half marathon I've done just in training without that being my intention, which makes me feel ready, along with breaking this 5k, which doesn't necessarily relate to an ultra, but it tells me I'm in the best fitness I've ever been in, and if there's ever a time where I would be capable for it, this is that time. So I've just got to look after myself, stay uninjured, and yeah, enjoy this running for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to end the video here, but as far as what's next, what you'd like to see, if you like this content, and you have thoughts about what else you'd like to have me talk about or showcase around that journey of, you know, working full-time, being a parent, and trying to chase these really high running goals, yeah, just let me know. Thank you very much for watching.